Hi, it's the Mike Rogers Show. Mike Rogers here with you. And today we have a very, 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 very special guest from LA Weekly. They wrote, decked out in a matching black suits and ties, Kate Clover and her band look like a late 1970s power pop group, or perhaps members of Blondie circa Parallel Lines. And while the LA singer's original songs are loaded with catchy pop hooks, she plays with a hard-driving punk power that's closer to the Ramones than the Knack. Won't you welcome with me Ms. Kate Clover? Yay!
Hey, how are you guys?
How are you? We are
great.
fine.
Good. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on your show.
No. It's wonderful to have you here. Very wonderful to have you here. So, Kate, can you first just start off by giving us your self-introduction?
Yeah, I'm Kate Clover. I'm a musician based in Los Angeles, and I play punk music.
Punk music.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that so in one magazine, and I don't remember what the magazine was. I think maybe it was called Post Punk. They said you were a post punk band, but I kind of thought you were a punk. But what's the difference between post punk and punk? I don't even know.
I mean, it's more post-punk is more a refined sound, and I think it's less aggressive sounding, and it's a little bit more, I would say, bass and drum driven, but I'm definitely not a post-punk act. And I think sometimes, I mean, all the time, journalists take a lot of liberty by telling you what you are, and I'm not that. So I make a point to, state the facts, which is I do not sound like Blondie. There's power pop elements to what I do, but it's definitely rooted in punk. And it's definitely more aggressive than Blondie and the Knack, but they have great pop songs and there's pop elements in my music. But again, it's more in the vein of the Ramones. I would say even maybe the Clash a bit, but it definitely not pop in the sense of Blondie, because Blondie was more disco to me than punk.
Really? You actually... I kind of thought so too. Once they got popular, what was the name of that song? I can't remember. Heart of Glass, Atomic or whatever. Yeah, and I thought this is disco music.
Yeah, I mean it was produced by a disco producer, and I love Blondie, but I think people listen with their eyes a lot of the time, and so they'll see certain visual cues, and then they'll just pin you as that, and it's just not true. So I always kind of defend myself and say what I am instead of being told what I am, because I know what I am and somebody's not going to tell me what I am,
So if you were a brunette and you wore really dark what is called eyeshadow and stuff, and you look like Susie Sue, then maybe you would be a post-punk band.
That's exactly what it is. It's just like, and it's like how my husband's band is always compared to Jesus and Mary Chain, yet they don't sound like them. I think it's just people take certain visual cues and they're lazy and they just want to write what's easiest. It's rare where I read a review that actually takes the time to kind of form an opinion based on what I've said, which is okay. I think it's great when people insert themselves in their writing. And this interview, I know, is not like a criticism on music journalism. I think it's just interesting what people write about what they hear when that's not even happening in the song. So.
Oh, well, this interview can be a criticism on music if you want it to be, because
we don't want to bore everybody. Or maybe.
I read so many interviews with artists, and I'm not saying that yours were. One of them was.
Yeah.
But they ask a question, and then I know you must have said something longer, but they put like one sentence answer.
Oh, yeah.
And that really strikes me as odd. And I think, like, wait a minute, they're doing this because they think the readers are stupid and won't read longer articles. So this interview is also going to appear in a magazine.
Great.
And your answers are going to be very long. So I hope that you will speak a lot.
Of course.
For me.
Yeah, that's why we're here.
So this is, I think, a question you probably haven't been answered. I'd like to know about your childhood. How did this start? How did this start? Did your parents tell you like you're going to play the piano, or when did you start thinking I want to be a Hollywood star, I want to do rock and roll or whatever? How old were you?
I started playing music when I was 5, and that started with piano lessons, and nobody forced me to. I wanted to, and so I think that natural curiosity it kind of made me kind of have like every week I would, have the lesson. But really what struck me as what resonated with me the most was that I'd come home from school and I would just sit at the piano with whatever was assigned. And I would just kind of like tinker away and figure it out. And I realized that was like a break and kind of an escape from everything. And so at that time, it was my own free time. And I really looked forward to that. And I think that kind of set the foundation of kind of just being an artist, because you learn how to kind of tinker away at something. And so I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed getting lost in that. And I never forgot that feeling. And I didn't understand really what that was, but that was like the beginning of a creative outlet for me. And so it was something that I always enjoyed. And I was always a visual artist as well. So at that time too, I would, in art class, I really enjoyed it, but I never really put that together. It was like music and then art. And so as I got older, everybody I feel like grows up with a guitar in the house, some dusty, out of tune piece of shit that like is impossible to play. And we had one of those guitars. And basically around 13, I kind of started to make more artsier friends and people like me. I met them in art class or just, in the hallways, just befriended a different group of people. And I would play guitar by myself. It was never a social thing yet. It was still like, this is just what I do in my off time by myself. And so I was always friends with people in bands and artists, but I was too shy to actually join a band or even try to play with other people. And so in college, probably when I started drinking alcohol, I was like, I can do it. I mean, a lot of good things happen from over drinking, right? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But I mean, it did give me like this confidence, not alcohol. I'm just saying that time gave me the confidence to sort of get up there and try and fail. And there was just no expectations. I think it was a group of friends that I found who, why don't you play guitar? Why don't you play bass? Like it was just a free setting and there was no pressure. So in college, I started playing live shows and played in different bands. And that's kind of when I fell in love with being in a band. But again, I was too shy to sing. And that was just the early part of the evolution. And so when I finished college, I started singing backups in a band, and it was a gradual thing. And then finally I sang a song by myself, and I wanted to be a singer, but again, I just didn't know how to do it, because finding your singing voice it's hard. Because at first, like, you want to sound like somebody you'll never sound like, And so you go through that whole self-loathing of, fuck, I suck. But I feel like once you get through, if you can get through getting over your disappointment of never sounding like somebody you look up to, you kind of really start to work with what you got. And I think that's when you find your voice. I don't think I'm a good singer, but I have something to say, and I'll say it how I know how to say it with my voice. That's all you have. And I think that's what I kind of learned through trying and failing a lot, but also just like there was something in me, and it's still there, that I have to express myself this way. And I think that at that time it was undeniable. And, I just believed in myself. And so finally I had been in enough bands to where I feel like I understood what I wanted to do. And I started writing a solo record because, at that point, yeah, at that point, it's sort of like, well, I think I can do it. And I knew you know, you get one shot if you're going to use your name. And so I kind of liked that pressure of like, well, let's accumulate all these years of experience and put it right here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so basically with my first record, that's what I did was the years of playing in bands and writing songs with other people. It was just time to kind of like put it into action. And so that was the formation of sort of where I am as a musician, which was again like through a lot of doubt, a lot of trial and error. But again, I like believed in something because I had something to say and I wanted to express. And I think that's where everything comes from for me.
Wow. So, okay. So you started piano at 5 years old. When
Mm-hmm.
you would come home, did your mom or dad play the piano too?
No, my parents were always into music. Like I grew up, they had really good taste in music. They always listened to classic rock or oldies. So from a very young age, I was exposed to good music. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and in fact, like they kind of would like gawk at me if I ever put like pop music on. They're like, this isn't good. And I'm like, okay. I mean, it's fine. Like, but I remember like kind of like one time like adjusting the radio and then they're like, you're really gonna listen to this? And I was like, eh. So they definitely like shaped my opinion on music. And like from a young age, I feel like, I don't know, I just felt like a rocker. It was just in
Oh,
my blood, you know?
yeah. So that's cool. So then 13 years old, you started playing the guitar, and then
Yeah.
you soon started playing in a band, 13, 15 years old or something like that?
No, it wasn't until I was like 18.
Mm-hmm. And then
Um,
you guys played shows? Like,
yeah, but it was in an art school. So it's like there was I mean, art school's weird. There's like art there's like artists have different art studios and there would be like parties. So you play like a house party or you play like some weird gallery thing. You know, it's just like weird art students. It
oh,
was fun. And that's why I'm saying like it was a good environment to just kind of figure it out. You know what I mean? It wasn't like on a crazy stage or anything like high stakes, you know? This is just
so
like innocent having fun.
so what was the name of your first band?
The first band we were called B-Sides, and it was like more like garage rock, very like primitive, basic, easy stuff.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it was cool and like it was really simple. It was just like a two-piece, but it was fun. And like I said, like I think garage rock's the perfect entry point, if especially if you want to sound a certain way. There's like a lot of great music to pull from that's super easy to play.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was a great starting off point for me.
So how old were you and what band were you in when you first played a proper live show, or when people bought tickets and came in? And
That was in my early 20s, and that was with that band.
with the garage band?
Yeah. But I mean,
Really?
again, yeah, yeah. But I mean, it was like a very short-lived thing, and this is like pre like internet boom, so it's like not a documented thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. So are any of the former musicians that you, or former people you played with, are any of them professional musicians now, or actors, actresses, or artists, or anything like that? Have any of them gone on to do something cool, or are they?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, because this was like my community of people forever. Like,
Mm,
some people have gone on to play with bigger artists, or some people just went into the movie business. Like, it's just a creative field. So I feel like people naturally branch out.
yeah, yeah. So the one of your members who played in a band played in a famous band.
She plays bass for that artist Phoebe Bridgers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Hmm.
And you've known her for years.
I've known Emily for like 6 or 7 years.
Wow. And then
Yeah.
how about your movie friend?
Oh, I've known him forever. But yeah, he produces different TV shows and movies. No, I don't think it's like not a known name, but definitely a behind the scenes character.
Well, I might know his name.
I doubt it. Doubt it.
Oh yeah.
No.
No, that's okay. Okay, so so you said that you everything from your past history and everything led to, you know, all the experiences and everything led to you making your debut record.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about your debut record.
Well, I started writing it in LA, I'd say about 2017. And I worked with a lot of different people here. But when I listened to what I made with these other people, it just never felt like I wanted to put my name on it and that was it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like what it was supposed to be. So again, just wrote more. And then I met Brandon Welches from Crocodiles and I sent him some songs. And then he said, oh, you should come down to Mexico City and record with me. Mm-hmm. And so that's sort of how this all.
Wait a minute. So you meet this guy and he says, come down to Mexico and record. Wasn't that a little bit suspicious?
I mean, yeah, definitely. But I mean, we befriended each other before that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So when did this debut album come out?
Well, it was broken up in a couple parts. So during the pandemic, I wanted to release it in 2020, but because of the pandemic, I knew I couldn't tour. So I released part of it as an EP in 2020. And then in 2022, that's when the full album came out.
And I read in an article that the debut album Bleed Your Heart Out, that's the name of it? The vinyl LP is sold out?
It's gone.
Congratulations! Wow!
Thank you. Still broke, but it's gone.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, it takes time. I interviewed Clem Burke the other day.
Oh wow!
And he said, I said to him, Clem, after you joined Blondie, then when was it that you realized that you had won the lottery? And he said, oh, well, you know, you get famous and then a long time afterwards, money starts coming in. So we were really well known and a lot of people really gave us accolades, but we didn't have any money.
Yep. I feel like that's the life of a musician.
Oh, yeah. It's the life of the DJ, too.
Oh, I know about that.
So this Bleed Your Heart Out, it's on vinyl. And is it downloadable anywhere? Or?
Yeah, it's on all the streaming platforms, iTunes or Apple Music. You name it, it's there. And
sales are doing really good. You guys, you're making lots of videos.
I love making videos. I feel like a video nowadays is just as important as the song.
Well, I think so too. And yeah, I've been watching a lot of your videos and I'm going to start putting them on. I do a top 3 countdown every week.
Oh, cool.
Every Saturday. I'm going to start putting them on there. I've been doing it for 20 years. Just, I don't know, just something to do, you know?
Of course. And it's a cool way for you probably to have all your taste archived in one place. It's like centralized to see, you know, I think that's a cool thing, even just for yourself.
Yeah. Well, the early versions of it, you go and you check it and all the videos are gone.
Oh, really?
They've been taken down or I don't know why. So
because the record companies probably changed their policy. I don't know.
Yeah. Is Bleed Your Heart Out on a record label?
Yeah, it's on a label called SVR.
SVR.
Yeah, and I believe I'm the only person on that label right now.
Oh. So when you walk into the office, it's like the Red Sea parting.
Yeah, it's just my face on the wall with a tip jar with no money. I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm just kidding.
It's SVR?
V as in Victor.
Okay, SVR. What does that stand for?
Songvest Records.
Oh, okay, Songvest.
Yeah, and it's ran by a great guy who gives you a lot of creative freedom, which I really respect. And it's been a good collaboration, so to speak, just because they've given me a lot of leeway to do what I feel is right for me. And I respect them for that.
That's cool. How did you get introduced to them, or how did that fall?
Through a past manager that he had a relationship with them. No, I mean, there's no like glamorous story. It was just an introduction that way.
But you have a past manager and he's being nice to you. That's
I mean, at the time he was my manager.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, we parted ways, but no bad blood. We just had different vision for things, and
yeah,
that's just what happens.
Okay. Anyways, Kate, I'd like to come back to part 2.
Okay.
Right after this. And I'd like to talk to you about what's going on in 2023, 2024, the future of Kate Clover. I'd really like to talk about that. So everyone, thank you to Miss Kate Clover.
Woo!
And if you like this video, go down here, click like and subscribe. I'm Mike Rogers, and I'll see you back here tomorrow with Miss Kate Clover. Bye.
Bye.